stand-up comedy is just another aspect of something that is very refined and specific to just one very specific thing, making people laugh, and everything is the exact same thing, um, except this is to serve as the best possible example of this. Um, all the comics that pioneered the today's genre, they all died of heroin, of drug overdoses, because in order to get that sharp, I mean, they basically had to, you know, do these things to themselves in order to be able to keep a level head and deliver the performance while doing the impossible. To make people laugh like that, like literally lose their minds from humor. You know. Um, so South Park made the perfect skit about all this malarkey, basically. And what happened was that South Park Elementary held a contest. Basically, what happened, there's a retard there whose name is Whiskers or some name like that, Petey or whatever, and he's retarded, right? And, he's got crutches and he's got some mental slowness, so he's a retard. That's it. It's a medical term. While medicine was still legal to actually practice instead of sell, it's not an insult. It's insulting to call someone with cancer a healthy person. That's genuinely insulting. That's genuinely uh, insensitive to that person's suffering or condition. So simple as that. Calling a retard, oh, he's perfectly fine. He's special. It's like you couldn't be any more degrading to that human being. It's like if I said, oh no, you got 3 arms, you can do all this work, no problem. And then if you don't do it, I punish you. How could dare you not do this work with the 3 arms you have when you only obviously have 2 arms? So it's to put that into words, it's like we're purposely abusing everyone for our own pleasure just to make ourselves feel good. It's crazy. And then we sell it. And then other people and then someone sells that. All right, so the PD, the autistic cripple in South Park Elementary, um, he puts on a contest, because he feels now that because of all that he's been, sold the formula, he feels that his rights that are not being acknowledged, his humanity is not being equally acknowledged and glorified as all the other children in South Park Elementary. So he files a complaint with the Department of Education of Colorado, and they send South Park Elementary School saying that this little boy is going to hold a contest, a talent show for the retards in the school, and he's the only one, and attendance is mandatory from all the staff and students. And so Petey holds a talent contest for himself where he gets all the awards, because he's not there mentally, like he's been pushed into making this mockery of himself because he's been told that this is how he has to be. It's like women being told that they have to be men, men being told that they have to be women, whatever the mockery is. It's kind of like taking the absolute most absurd and saying that's it, that's the real thing. And so he gives himself all the awards, and at the end he comes up with this other unrelated award for the least funniest people in the world, and the contestants are the Germans, the Eskimos, and the Japanese, maybe I don't know, the Germans again, and the Germans win, as the least funniest people in the world, and this gets picked up by the news, and that night it's all over cable, and the Germans see this and they get furious, how these three Germans are very funny. And so the next day, the kids are in class, and all of a sudden, boom, building shakes, and there's an explosion, and all these German ministers with handguns bust into the school in the classroom and hold them at gunpoint. We will show you that Germans are very funny. And so they invent this robot, the Jokinator 3000, which is a robot that makes jokes. And it starts telling poop jokes to the children, and the children start laughing. And then it starts telling sex jokes to the adults, and the adults start laughing. And then it pulls out these Gatling guns and just blows everybody away. And all the adults, the stupid white people, middle class retarded white people, they're laughing and losing their minds as they get shot. And so then the robot, the Jokinator, breaks into a nuclear power plant and starts fidgeting with the nuclear reactor to blow it up. And the voice of reason in South Park among the kids, there's Cartman, and there's three others. Kyle, I think, is the Jew, who they always make fun of because he's a Jew. And then there's the standard waspy middle class white boy, or lower middle class white boy from South Park. Maybe he's Kyle, and the other one is something else. But anyway, he's the voice of reason in the show. And he, is like trying to talk to the robot, like, what are you doing? And the robot says, oh, it is the final joke, the final joke. A man makes robot, a robot destroys man. Awkward. And so then Kyle thinks of it, thinks of how to stop this robot, and so he gives him an award for his comedy performance. And the robot takes the award. He's like, wait a minute. This is saying that something that is funny is serious. And if I take it seriously, then I'm no longer funny, but it is given to me because I'm so funny. And it explodes. And that's the skit. You know what I'm saying? It's like there's no need for it. It's like it was done just to push the limits as far as they could possibly go before the very material of reality is ripped apart and nothing's left. It's like that was the only purpose it was done for, just for the sake of that. Even though we could have just thought about it and be like, no, that is not a good idea. Do not do that. That is stupid. And it's like almost like banging your finger with a hammer to see how, something sadistic, sadomasochistic, as absurd as it gets. It's like you wouldn't even go there, if you have any kind of normal semblance to your mind. But that's where we've come to today.